This is how it should be done.
Oh, the world's greatest entertainer has so many amazing songs. Another thing, though, that I was very intrigued about that when it came out, I don't think, at least for me, I didn't see a lot of people talking about it or a lot of people discussing it, was Hank Shockley and On the Strength. So, given that you produce so much on your own and you write lyrics, you produce, you do all these different things, what and why did you bring Hank Shockley in for On the Strength and work with them on the World's Greatest Entertainer album?
Well, it's a real good question, because when I did my first album and I produced all of the stuff on it, and by the way, on Oh My God, Loving Every Minute of it is probably the first hip hop go-go song before everybody was really doing it other than Curtis Blow, because I say Curtis Blow off the top. But that was me combining that Chuck Brown beat with the show shaker sound and the cuts of Loving Every Minute of it and the cuts of the DJs and stuff like that. So I was experimenting with go-go at that moment, because when I seen Chuck Brown, it had that kind of an impact on me. And it made me want to go back in the lab and use this, because we love go-go anyway, you know? And it was really, really a great thing. But on top of that, what you're asking about with World's Greatest Entertainer, you know, for me, when I was producing a lot of this stuff, I said, let me bring in Hank Shockley and the Bomb Squad, because we were on tour together. And Public Enemy was opening up for us. So when they opened up, we would talk, and I used to give Chuck D information about performing. Yo, let the S1Ws move. You and Flavor Flav should play off of each other more. It should be like peanut butter and jelly. It should be like, you know, high and low. You know, you need to set it up better. And so we started talking, and then he told me how he was producing music. And then I heard that Def Jam had them coming in there, and they was working with Rick. And then I said, okay. And I said, I like Public Enemy. I like these guys. And I said, you know, if they're working with Rick, then, you know, let me just give them a shot. And so I had this idea of rising to the top. And I was getting ready to do it myself. But then I knew production value and sound was changing. And I knew they was on the cutting edge of the new sound. And I didn't have all of this sound, the sonics that they had. I had the idea, but I didn't have the sound. So Hank Shockley, the Bomb Squad, Eric Sadler, Keith Sadler, all of them came in. And when they heard my idea, some of them didn't really get it. But then after I went in there, I made the beat. After I made the beat, I came in there with Rising to the Top. Barry started scratching our normal formula, and they brought in the productions. You know, they gave us the tools, you know, to make what we needed to make. And then he said, yo, you like the James Brown of hip hop, you know? You do your dance, I see you on stage, you're doing this. I said, man, you need to do a James Brown beat. So when he told me about the James Brown beat, I came in there with that record, Rising to the Top. So I gave him an opportunity to check out his idea of the way he thought I should make a record, because I never used any producers throughout my career. I've been pretty much the producer. So I said, let me try it. And he said, yo, I want you to write the rhyme like this. And I said, well, can I start like that and do other things? He said, yeah, but this is how it's gonna go. And then that's when I made On the Strength. And I like On the Strength, but it wasn't Rising to the Top. And all of those albums, by the way, are being re-released right now on October 15th. So today is the 14th, tomorrow, all the albums are coming out. Oh My God, The World's Greatest Entertainer, and Play. Those three albums are coming out, and I have bonus tracks on all of those albums. I got songs that you didn't hear that was gonna be on the album, And I have stuff that you did hear, but you didn't hear the original of it. Like I got the show on Oh My God, but the 1984 live version of it that nobody got. You know what I mean? And I got other stuff on there. I'm telling you, when you check it out, you're gonna really appreciate this.
I'll be very excited, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then with I got so many questions, but then with Africa going back home, were you guys really, because on there you talk about the first rap group to rock Africans, were you really the first rap group to go to Africa and do a show?
Yeah, we were the first. We went to Africa in '87.
What country did you go to?
I went to Senegal, Dakar, and I went to Gambia, and I performed on Goree Island. And Goree Island was like Cape Coast Island, Cape Coast Castle. It's the last place before slaves were taken and sent all over the world. And it's considered to be the door of no return. So I performed there. And when I went in '87, little interesting twist of the story, Akon's father was a part of that team. And Akon's father, I knew Akon when he was a little boy. And Akon and his father, because that's why Akon now is doing things in Senegal. But I was there with his father, and I was a part of a whole, like, different musical groups that was going over there, but we were the only hip hop group. And it was a beautiful experience, man. I'm actually coming out with a documentary on that as well. And I'm looking at putting it, it's really a very interesting piece because I got footage from '87, and then I went into Africa. I forgot the year, but I went to Sierra Leone, and I went there because I was a part of a team who owned a diamond mine. And then I went to South Africa, several years later after that. And then 2 years ago, I went to Ghana. So I have all of these experiences and footage from different parts and different things that have occurred. So from '87 all the way up to 2020 is a pretty, Africa's been getting a lot of love, man.
So how and why and what did it work out to where in '87 you were able to go there? Like, how did that happen?
Well, they called me and they asked me, I had a friend of mine, his name was Masamba. And I was also working with a lot of African artists. Alabama Tunde, I was working with African drummers and conga players. I was working with, there's a guy named Youssindor, another African artist who sang in French. And so my relationship with Africa was always very strong. And once again, when I wrote Africa, I wrote it exactly about what happened. I was writing it when it was going on. I forgot I do this all the time. That I really did. I forgot. Most of the things I write about are the things that I experience,
Well,
and I'm gonna do Africa. I'm doing another version of that record over. Like, I want to do that record. I'm doing it again, and I'm presenting it with a whole nother sound. I'm probably gonna do it with this new style of beat. And I'm gonna take the song Africa with the new style of beat, and I'm gonna let out the documentary with that.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
And I also thought, especially this album came out in '88, but I also thought it was amazing, the contextualization of it, because I think a lot of people don't understand or appreciate when Black Americans go to Africa, the perception of things, because a lot of my friends that have gone have told me, like, man, it wasn't what I expected. I had a totally different experience, or I didn't realize the cities were so developed and all this other stuff. So,
Right.
So for you, when you first went, and you talk about it a little bit in the song, people with bones in their noses and the flies and all this, but
Right.
then, so how did it shape you when you came back to the United States after the first trip?
It made me really, really love Africa, appreciate the whole the whole movement. Like people back in '87 was afraid to go to Africa because your perception of Africa was completely destroyed because of the television shows, things that you've seen, the kids are sick and this and that. And it wasn't like that. There was a lot of beautiful, a lot of great things about Africa. You know, there was a lot of nutritional things I learned. You know, a lot of the food over there is freshly killed. It doesn't sit. They used to have these things, these cola nuts that they would eat, and it would, you know, it kind of like flushes out your system, but it's damn near like pure caffeine, but it gives you an energy, but it cleans you out. They had oranges that look like lemons. I have all of this in the footage. I went and in Senegal, it's an Islamic country, so they would pray 5 times a day. And so in the middle of a concert, you got thousands of people. In the middle of the concert, when they hear that chant go off, everybody will go, take their prayer rugs, go to different areas and pray, get their mind right, get their alignment with God, come back, and then the band would stop. No music will be playing. Then they pick up their instruments and then they start playing again. It was the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever seen. You know, then we would take a boat from Senegal to Goree Island, but on that boat, people is playing, you know, the percussions like the way we would play a box or a radio with a cassette, you know, in our car or walking down the street. So it was really interesting how there was so much similarity. And then when I went into South Africa, going forward for a minute, they would have circles where people would be dancing and the guy is playing the percussions again, and they would be in circles. And then it would remind me of when we had Rooftop and when we would dance and when I made up the Dougie and all of that stuff, you know, we would be in circles and we would be dancing, you know, you're just coming up with all kinds of, you know, different styles and stuff, you know, where you watch somebody else. And when you watch somebody else do their dance, it made you create more. So it was just all these connections that made me just have such a greater appreciation of Africa, of the people, of the culture, and I wanted to know more about it, you know, and I was inspired. And Rakim said this is one of his favorite songs of my songs that he liked. He called me up, I was on BLS. He called me and said, yo, that Africa song is crazy. He said, wow. He said, when you said the rhyme, I can see everything as if like I was there. So I've always been the guy that would be honest about my experiences as best as I can. And that's what I will present, you know, and those that get me well. Those that don't, you know, I give them time to figure me out down the road.
Be sure to check out the history of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.